U.S. President Donald Trump is facing a midnight deadline to secure congressional authorization for the war against Iran. Well, the 60-day clock that triggered when Trump notified Congress of strikes in early March, it required the administration to begin winding down hostilities unless lawmakers authorize the use of force. With no such approval in place, the deadline sets up a direct constitutional clash between the White House and Congress. Democrats say the president is already shaky on legal grounds and will be in clear violation once the threshold passes. The administration disputes that interpretation, arguing the clock was effectively paused by a ceasefire announced last month. Listen to this.
On Iran, ultimately, I would defer to the White House and White House counsel on that. However, we are in a ceasefire right now, which our understanding means the 60-day clock pauses or stops in a ceasefire. So you're not in. Yeah. It's our understanding, just so you know.
Okay, well, I do not believe the statute would support that. I think the 60 days runs maybe tomorrow, and it's going to pose a really important legal question for the administration. We have serious constitutional concerns, and we don't want to layer those with additional statutory concerns. I yield back, Mr. Chair.
With tens of thousands of U.S. troops deployed in West Asia and mounting economic and political costs at home, the dispute presents a high-stakes test of Congress's authority over war powers, more than 50 years after the law was passed in the wake of the Vietnam War. Now, with the Trump administration appearing to bypass the requirement, it is uncertain whether the U.S. president will seek authorization. Trump on Thursday said that the U.S. is doing really well in what he described as military operations and not war.
The country's doing really well, and that's despite a military operation. I don't call it a war, but you rather have a military operation where really, I mean, Iran is dying to make a deal. I can only tell you that. I don't want to get into the, but they cannot be nuclear. Other than that.
And for more on this, my colleague Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Take a look.
As a key deadline approaches under the War Powers Resolution, which generally requires the president to get Congress's approval after about 60 days of military action, it's not yet clear whether or not President Donald Trump will seek this authorization or begin withdrawing forces, or neither. The White House says that it is in ongoing talks with Congress and has already informed lawmakers multiple times about what's happening with Iran. But officials argue that the political pressure could undermine military operations. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth argues that the current ceasefire with Iran effectively pauses that 60-day clock. However, many Democrats dispute that argument. So the core issue now is unresolved, whether or not the president will ask for reauthorization, or will there be some kind of political and legal showdown in the coming days. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.